everybody, and we are back. So, welcome to the demo of Crimson Waves on the Emerald Sea Amaranthine Moon. And like I said, this is a game I've seen on Kickstarter. Something I didn't realize, though, is that it's actually a standalone sequel to another game by Crystal Game Works Studio, who made this game called Crimson Waves on the Emerald Sea. So, to give y'all a little bit of synopsis about this game. Determined to make her own destiny as she turns 18, the young head of her family, Lucy, plunges headfirst into the conniving world of business dealings. Before she's able to seal the deal on a revolutionary treatment to vampirism, her business partner suddenly dies. Lucy finds herself embroiled in the middle of the mysterious death of her former partner in an event from a decade prior. Crimson Waves on the Emerald Sea, Amaranthine Moon is the Otome standalone sequel to Crimson Waves on the Emerald Sea, a Victorian vampire visual novel previously released in 2021. This visual novel is set around 5 to 6 years after the events of the first visual novel, following Lucy as the main character now that she's an adult. There's 3 love interests. You can be a human or a vampire. Multiple endings and over 60,000 words of Victorian romance and vampiric intrigue, which I'm assuming is for the final game. Now, I did not realize that this was a sequel, which means that I am, of course, going to have to be playing the sequel at some point in time. But as they said, this also works as a standalone game. So we're just going to roll with that for now, and we're going to see what is in store with us. So, welcome once again to Crimson Waves on the Emerald Sea, Amaranthine Moon. Let's get started. Preferences, we're going to go full screen here. There we go. Return. The art is so pretty. Like, look at them. They're all so beautiful. Alright, we're gonna start. OT! I've always wondered how slow time feels for adult vampires. For the fleeting time I was a vampire as a child, it was like never-ending summer afternoon. Okay, so I guess in the previous game we become a vampire for a short while and then we cure our vampirism. Oi! There we go. Got my tea for my Victorian style game. Some days I could play the day away with no heed. For the time, I could explore every room in the manor thrice over, running from every corner to the next. Other days, the hours slink by, every second dripping by slower than the last. Even the shades couldn't shield the manor from the oppressive, sticky heat of summer. Every step felt slower than the last. But for adult vampires, who age at half the rate of humans, is it that same feeling? Of being stuck indoors during the longest summer day of the year? Ooh, I like the painted style. Like, you can actually see tiny little detailing where it looks like it's actually paint on a canvas. Just like the lines of fabric that you would typically see. It's really cool. Well done. Or is it more akin to sitting in a backed up doctor's office, or watching the fire crackle during the first snow of the year, or waiting on a train that's forever delayed? It's annoyingly introspective thoughts like this that creep their way in as I have nothing to do but watch the grandfather clock tick closer and closer to the half-hour mark. The whole half hour I've sat here, waiting for nobody. Apparently, all of the cordial letters and handcrafted gem samples I'd been sent were a sham, or a prank. Once we agreed to meet in person to finalize a business proposal, he hightailed it elsewhere. Asshole. I clenched the body on my dress. The clock chimes in mockery of me. Not even a servant has so much as entered the room or hallway to inform me of his tardiness. As the grandfather clock's chime echoes in the room, I glance outside. The day is almost over, but there's still some daylight left. Time better spent outside than in here. I ease my shoulders, promptly standing, and I leave. Look at her, looking all sassy. She reminds me of someone. She kind of reminds me of, oh my god, that anime that came out not too long ago about the old man who gets turned into the villainous, or really like any villainous game in this day and age. There's an odd amount of a blonde, curly haired Victorian style. I'm the villainous girls with the ho 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 laugh. That's what she's given. I like it. The nerve of him to gush about how interested he was in my business proposition, to boast about how perfectly handcrafted his gems were, only to stand me up. If another letter from him arrives, I'm tossing it into the fireplace. As you should, Queen. I trudged down an alleyway, not wanting to hit the crowds, walking down the main street in the broad daylight. At this time of day, the sun feels its brightest, and most headache-inducing. The back alleys, however, are always a pleasant source of shade in areas of town devoid of trees. Perfect on a hotter day like this. But they're also perfect for hiding people. A darkened figure tags along about a block's length from me. Hey, don't you even think about it, asshole! I skip to another alley. He follows. I press against the wall as I pass by a few workers in another alley, turning in an intersection while I'm obscured behind them. He still follows. Oh, I get the creeps. I have to do something more drastic. I double back to the first alley, making a long circle, well, square, to get there without running into him. The stairwell of the building juts out just enough to hide myself with, so I lay in wait there for my pursuer. No one appears from around the corner. Maybe he gave up already. I lean forward to look down the alleyway, but something tugs on my hair ribbon. Oh no! Hey! What do you think you're doing? Nemo? Hello! You got really pretty eyes. Who are you? Giving chase? Looks more like you're running around and up to no good. You're no fun. What are you doing out of the meeting so early? I wanted to check in on things and nobody was around. So is he like our guard? Butler? Watcher? He looks like just an average boy. Oh, brother! Okay. I skipped past my brother, ignoring his question. Hey! Come on, I want dinner. He didn't show up, did he? He must have thought he was too good for my offer. He'll see he can't get far without help. I grit my teeth, and I feel Nemo looking at me with pity. Alright, let's go home. I turned back to grab his arm, but instead I met with a hand pushing down on my head. Hey! I'm sorry he was a no-show. You'll find a better fit soon. Just don't try to rush these things. It's not like I'm gonna kick you out. You don't even own the place, you moocher. I'm not a moocher. What's his is mine. That's how marriage goes. Huh? Huh? For someone who avoided commitment like the boogeyman, he sure is bragging about it a lot now. Hey, yo! Found him! I fucking found Nemo! I guess we did, Keegan. Not gonna lie, I wasn't expecting that. I'm... Oh. He lends me an arm, leading us out of the alley. The floorboards creak underneath our feet as we step down the alleyway to our flat. Darkened wood lines every wall, making the space feel several shades darker than it actually is. Most of the other residents should be home by now, winding down for the day. But more so than the sounds of our footsteps, the melody of a violin permeates through the hall. It's soft and cautious, each note more careful than the last. You can practically imagine someone reading from sheet music while playing the notes. There's something quite relaxing about it. Not overwhelmingly loud, but comfortably resting in the background. The pieces echo through the walls, making it hard to tell where it's coming from. As we near our own flat, though, The notes stop. I sigh to myself that we won't be able to hear it at dinner. Ambrose, hi! You're cute! I'm sorry to hear about that. I've heard so many good things about him. He's the jeweler who made my brooch and cravat, after all. Maybe something urgent came up? I'm sure you'll hear from him in the next day or two. Who are these people? Cecil, how dare he? Sending all those buttery letters only to stand you up. You act like it was a marriage proposal. It's a serious crime, that's what it is. It's not that either. It's a nuisance. I snapped the pork chop on my plate. They're all suddenly more interested in eating their own meals. Okay, so Nemo's married to one of these guys, right? Who's the already married man and who's my potential love interest? Are any of them my potential love interest? I need to know. It said that there's 3, right? Yeah, there's 3 love interests. The food is rather good, thanks partially to the cooking classes Ambrose is taking. It doesn't sit well with me. Not tonight. Oh, Ambrose is gonna be the married one, isn't he? I eat quickly, leaving a little under half of it still on my plate before heading to my room. Moonlight slinks through the blinds and across the floorboards, and bounces off of my mirror, just right, hitting my eyes. I must have fallen asleep right after dinner. I don't usually take naps so late in the day. I pushed myself up on my bed, rubbing my eyes. It may be nighttime now, but I don't think I was asleep for very long. I can hear noises from the other room, so Nemo and Ambrose are still awake. Aw, man! Why is there always the cute ones that are the gay one? Honestly, though, I have a bad habit. Oh my god. It's kind of weird in that my gaydar is based off of who I have a crush on. Because I swear, the majority of the guys that I have had a crush on, which I don't get crushes very often, all of the ones I do get crushes on end up being gay. And I don't know how or why. Maybe it's just because they're the nicest people I know, but it's like, come on! Something on my nightstand glitz out of the corner of my eye. It's my bottle of pills. A modern marvel of medicine to some and an expensive hoax to others. Emeralds refined to the size of a pill have been found to be a cure for vampirism. Okay. That's why it's Emerald Sea, I guess. Effectively negating a vampire's heightened abilities and their dependence on blood. At just the right size, they can be digested and dissolved into a person's body. Any larger, and they can be poisonous to vampires. Or weak to precious gems. Oh, okay. So weakness to gems. And she works in the gem trade. That's interesting. And a very unique take to vampires. Taking pills regularly can turn any person, no matter how long they've been a vampire, back into a human. But whether that change is permanent or only lasts while the pills are being taken remains to be seen. I mean, you can just test that by stop taking the pills. While they're not a perfect... While they're not a perfect cure, and are rather expensive to acquire at a small scale, they are highly effective. I haven't had to drink blood in years. But I also haven't had the use of my heightened physical abilities in years. Look, I don't care what you do as an adult. If you want to be a vampire, then fine. I really need to play the first game because I am intrigued by this vampire lore. But I want you to wait until you're old enough to make that decision before all of your friends start aging faster than you. Are we, like, in a world where everybody's already a vampire? I turned 18 this month. I'm old enough to make my own decisions. I don't need my brother to keep looking out for me. Ooh, okay. So, do we want to be a vampire or do we want to be a human? Can I make a pull? I can totally make a pull. Let me make a pull real quick. I want you guys to decide. Vampire or human? How do I make a pull? How do I do this? What am I doing? I want pull. How do I make a pull? Let me make pull. No, not at my stream info. What am I doing? Channel. Creator dashboard? Okay, stream manager. Poll. Stream info. No, not that one. There it is. Create a new poll. Vamp or human? Human. Vampire. And I'll allow additional votes so some of y'all can use up your points. Alright. Cast your votes. Okay. Got one vote for vampire. Four votes for vampire. Oh my god, don't abuse the points, people. God, this tea's so good. 10 votes. Oh my god, y'all are abusing the fuck out of it. You really want me to be a vampire? Whoever you are. I'm gonna guess it's probably Keegan, honestly. And final seconds. And with 10 votes, I guess, we are gonna be a vampire, so we are not taking the pill. I pick up the half-full bottle, shaking it gingerly. The emerald pills are small enough to go inside a ring. I push the bottle into my nightstand's drawer. Because they're so small, Nemo won't notice a few extra pills, but he's bound to find out eventually. What's so wrong with being a vampire? It's not like I'll age so much slower than everyone else. You'll only be at half the rate. Nemo chose to be with Ambrose despite him staying a vampire. You should be fine with me deciding to be a vampire too. I take one last glance at the bottle as I stand. There are many people still skeptical about the treatment. Mr. Douglas is fascinated by it. Precious gems have long been a dangerous poison for vampires, despite their staying power in ornate jewelry. And the thought of using them for medicinal purposes, rather than for looks or for harm, intrigued him. Or so I thought. Him standing me up today was the final nail in that coffin. Huh. I shouldn't spend the rest of the early night hours sleeping, or else I'll mess up my sleep schedule. Nemo and Ambrose are in the parlor, as I figured. Nemo has hogged all of the candles and minimal lights, and he looks deep in concentration on fixing the radio. Ambrose is reading the newspaper. Despite the low lighting he's left with, he isn't straining his eyes. Vampiric sight has many advantages. Still, I don't want to be their third wheel the rest of the night. I step out onto the balcony. Oh. I didn't see you were out here. Hey, Cecil. Oh, look at his little blush. He's kind of a cutie. No, it's alright. Cecil scrambles to his feet, suddenly eager to get up off the concrete floor. So, how are you doing? How do you think I'm doing? I can't believe that man. Standing you up like that? We ought to tarnish his name. He'll tarnish it himself in due time, acting like that. Besides, I'm not sure how you of all people would even go about doing something like that. I'll go find someone else to work with on it. Maybe I'll reach out to doctors again to gain more public approval before reaching out to manufacturers. I'm sure you can, Lucy. Besides, you can always make Nemo chase after new leads. I think he'd chase them off more than help. I shouldn't be snacking right now, but I'm snacky. He has enough work to do around campus, and he's insisted on going with me to every business meeting, party, and more. I can't tell if he fancies himself my bodyguard or my chaperone. It's not even his family business. So, speaking of which, you'll be dealing with all this soon enough. Huh? You think your family never has to renegotiate anything? That their mining privileges are set in stone? That their workers never ask for pay increases or more benefits? That their merchant deals are lifelong? Soon you'll be going, "Oh, Lucy, how did you handle all of this? You're so brave to start so young." I already say that. He huffs, turning back to the night sky. For the past few years, he's had little contact with his parents. No more than greeting cards and letters he's forced to write to them just to show he's alive. Instead of commuting several hours by train to the family manor, Cecil is living here, in the stylish apartment that comes with the Ambrosius role as headmaster of Predo University. Cecil and I share most of our classes, as we're both focused on business so we can take on our family's companies. And yet, sometimes it feels like it's hard to get a proper answer out of him when I inquire about his plans for the future. Chin up. You'll get to shadow a local business soon enough. Oh my god. You're lucky you don't have to do that. I've got plenty of real-world experience. Don't let me count it towards classwork rather than letting me finish school early, though. Lucy. His voice is small and short, cutting off his own words almost as quickly as they left him. What is it? Nothing? I reach over and pinch his ear. Aww. Ow! It's not nothing if it came to you, so spit it out. It was just a stupid thought, but I was wondering if this is what you really want to do. Again, his words drift off the longer he talks. It is. I've had to live off of others' generosity for too long. People who think they owe it to my parents to keep me safe. I want to forge my own path going forward. I want to prove I can be on my own. What does that say about me? Huh? I'm sure you'll find a good business partner before too long, Lucy. After a moment, it's clear he intends to leave the conversation at that. Cecil's family is from newer money, having made their living from mining operations for precious gems. While his ancestors may have sweated it out in the mines, the current generations live by signing deals with property owners, negotiating labor work, refining the gems, and more. The idea of an opportunity has not been lost on me. Every time I bring it up or even mention it, however, lets the conversation drop. At least it's a nice night out here, isn't it? I match his gaze. Far beyond the rooftops, stars dot the sky above us. They shine back at us vibrantly, almost twinkling. I don't want to be so dependent on others anymore. I just want to build something myself. Cathedral? For all the it's the university. For all the prestige and respect they hold, the towering spires of Predo University do nothing to keep the sun from my eyes. The morning glare is so consistent and forceful that most students go out of their way to take the long way around to the east entrance to avoid it. Yeah, I'm liking it so far, kitten. You would think the sun could be more considerate and less intrusive, given the number of vampires working and learning on campus. As for Cecil and myself, We often avoid the problem entirely by winding through the gardens and taking shortcuts that only make sense when you're setting out for the headmaster's apartment. How infuriating. I should be drafting contracts and celebrating now. A rough sigh escapes me, more a sign of exhaustion than anything I'm expecting out of the day ahead. My classes will provide a moment's distraction at the very least. I need to keep my focus sharp and find another prospect quickly. In the future, once Cecil takes over his family's business, we can form a partnership and build a more secure chain of supply. There's no chance of that while his father's in control, unfortunately. If I recall correctly, Elm's family, who's Elm, owns a series of retail establishments. I have no idea what business they're in exactly, but if he has some connections. Ambrosia is also meeting with the university board soon, if I'm not mistaken. There are several prominent businessmen among the board, including at least 2 wholesalers and a renowned doctor. Perhaps I could convince Ambrose to arrange a meeting with at least one of them. Wait, Lucy! Aw, look at his glasses! Cecil, what are you doing back there? Well, to start, I saw that stray cat that's been wandering around campus lately, and then by the time I tried to get your attention, you'd gotten this far ahead of me. You know that cat won't pay you any mind no matter how many slices of roast chicken you leave out for it. I wasn't trying to bribe it, I just wanted to show you, but you move so fast when you get lost in thought. Not much choice in the matter, thanks to recent events. I'll have it sorted out swiftly enough. You definitely will. You'll have all the merchants in the city begging to partner with you before too long. And someday, I'll be saying the same to you. This doesn't come as easily for me as it does for you, Lucy. He smiles, but I know him too well to leave it at that. He's been so unsure of himself lately, but Cecil's more than capable of keeping pace with me even if he doubts it himself. He was up rather late last night, though. It's not often I see him so easily distracted either. I'll have to ask him about it later. Cecil has been my best friend since we were children, and he always rushes to support me, even when it puts him in danger. I only hope he isn't wearing himself too ragged trying to keep up with me now. The university gardens are always immaculate. Students and professors alike meander through its hedges, rushing between classes or taking leisurely strolls. It's also haunted, if you believe the rumors spun from mistaken sightings of marble statues in the dead hours of night. 5 years prior, a series of vampire attacks terrified the campus and kept most from venturing out after dark. I suppose classroom rumors are a sign of Prideaux's recovering from that incident. Eh? I only see half a face. Who are you? 5 years prior, a series of vampire attacks terrified the campus and kept most from venturing out. Oh. Instead of a ghost, however, I see a tall, pale face beneath the lilac blossoms. Good. I need to catch him before class begins. Are you admiring the flowers? Or have you been waiting for us here? Hello! Aren't you a cutie? Oh, Lucy. Elm, dude, that's tall as an elm, and he's getting like all of the camera shots here. Look at that rotating angle. I've shared a class with Elm for half a year now, and he's saved both Cecil and I countless headaches in that time. For all the expertise and wisdom kept in these hollowed halls, most of our professors are dead set on explaining things in the most obtuse and unreasonable ways imaginable. Elm has a keen talent for translating all of their theoretical jargon into a language anyone can grasp. His family has several holdings in retail business outlets, even... Oh my god, words. His family has several holdings in retail business outlets, though now that I think more on it, I don't know much about what they do or where their money comes from. It's easy to forget details like that when we talk. He always listens intently when he's consistently surprised, even our professors, with his insights. Not that you know from the detached air about him. No matter what the situation, Elm can always set someone at ease. More often, I think, by taking much of their unease onto himself. Do you have a moment before the professor arrives? I'd like to speak with you about... I'm sorry. His voice is so brittle. It's usually hard to read any of his expressions, but right now he's clearly preoccupied. Not today. What? Oh. I'm not in a sound state today. Do you feel unwell? You look the part, no doubt. He shakes his head. Also, rude. Lucy, there's something I'll tell you later. Wait just a minute now. Before I can ask him what's on his mind, he ducks into the classroom and makes his way to a desk. Alrighty then, just giving the cold shoulder right off the bat. Elm, what the fuck? Lucy, what was Elm saying? He seems out of sorts. I'm not sure. It's almost as if he was in shock. You don't think he's caught a summer cold, do you? I almost hope it's as simple as a passing sickness. I've never seen that heaviness in Elm's eyes before. The professor's on her way. Lucy, let's head inside. Yes. Oh? I'm sorry, is the professor a love interest? Elm trudges ahead and sits down in the back corner of the classroom, far from his usual seat near Cecil and I. Oh, wow, okay, he's just avoiding me entirely. Damn, I may not get another chance to speak with Elm until after class. Asking about his family business can wait. I won't leave one of my friends languishing like that. Though, I'll admit it's often hard to read his expressions. Maybe it would be a bad idea to press him on anything now if he's feeling unwell. My nose wrinkles and I force myself to follow along with the professor's droning. Okay, so that wasn't the professor. That wasn't Elm, though. That was a different outfit, right? Finding Elm after class proves more troublesome than anticipated. He excused himself partway through the lecture and never returned, and I'm not an inkling of where he might be. Okay, wait, is he an established vampire or a human? I doubt he's avoiding me in particular, but it does seem as though he's avoiding everyone. In which case, why would he have come to class today at all? I sigh and pace through the campus gardens, borrowing shade from the hedgerows as I consider whether I should keep up the search or let Elm be and turn my focus elsewhere. Perhaps I ought to reach out to another jeweler, though if Douglas calls on me again... Well, he's had his chance. Oh, brooch. Oh, Lucy. Is there another villain in need of reprimand? Oh my god, he's so cute. It's nothing that drastic. I'll have it all sorted out before too long, provided that my brother doesn't fuss over me every step of the way. He's showing his concern as best he knows how. You finished your classes for the day, haven't you? I happen to have a free moment, and I was planning to take a walk into town. I'd be delighted to have you join me. Ambrose offers me his elbow, and space beneath his parasol, a gentle but nonetheless insistent invitation. He's far more considerate than his husband. Honestly, Nemo could at least ask before showing up to herd me like a wandering goat. I take Ambrose's arm and fall into step alongside the headmaster as he walks beneath the university's grand archway and toward the center of town. I was considering that myself. I won't refuse the company, though I can't stay for long. You won't have to worry on my account. My errand should only take a few minutes at most. I suppose he's not in today either. After his third impeccably polite knock on an ornate shop door, Ambrose resigns. His errand, as it happens, was meant to be a quick stop to see a gemsmith by the name of Fairfield. I'll have to see if Mr. Driscoll has the time. And what it is that you're looking to have crafted, I wonder. Ambrose smiles so fondly, it's obvious he's planning some sort of gift for Nemo. Aww. I'll tell you as soon as I can be sure it's even possible. But for now, let's leave it there. Well, it's no surprise that Mr. Fairfield isn't in. He's not replied to the letter I sent him last week either, so he must have left town without giving proper notice. How strange. In that case, was there anywhere in town you'd like to go, Lucy? No, but I'm more than content to wander while we talk. Shall we? Of course. It's been considerably mild of late, though I hear there's a storm coming in from off the coast. Huh. Perhaps I should ask Nemo to fix the window shutters instead of tending to the overgrown trees around the storage building. Your last meeting went well, I take it? Was it the entire board of trustees, or just the representatives? My, Lucy. You're more perceptive than some of the faculty. Ambrose closes his eyes and smiles softly, which I've come to know as a sign of resignation. I know he would rather we wander aimlessly and take this time to distract ourselves from business, but I can't let even a narrow possibility slip away. Yes, the board met earlier than usual. That storm I mentioned will make the roads unfit for travel, and many of them have business outside of Laurenburg. I can imagine why you're about to ask, but none of them are open to new business ventures. At least not yet. And how could you know that for certain? I may not have graduated yet, but if any of them have any good sense. It isn't a matter of good sense, Lucy. Ambrose sighs as we turn into the busy town square, the sun-battered awnings and ivy-covered eaves keeping us in the cool shade. We lost the first quarter of our meeting to one board member's complaints over snake oil salesmen in his hometown, and another swore up and down that she'd been swindled by a jeweler passing off tinted glasses as a ruby. Or tinted glass. And over certain that a few of them would be interested in the prospect of a treatment for vampirism. This isn't the best time. They all got problems of their own. That's a sensible conclusion, but do you really think I hate it when words refuse to work. That's a sensible conclusion. Do you really think I couldn't convince them? Regardless of whatever huckster they might be ranting about, I'm living proof that there's a cure for vampirism within our grasp. I can already feel my senses sharpening again. I wasn't expecting my vampirism to return so quickly, but at this rate, perhaps it would only take another few days before I could use my blood arts again. Blood arts? Ooh, okay. Get a little demon slayer up in here. That would be more than enough to prove myself a vampire, and then... I have no doubt that you could convince nearly anyone. It's not that I worry you might fail, Lucy. It's that I'm worried you'll push yourself to the point of collapse. Oh, shit. You've worked diligently and almost without rest for months now, Lucy. I'm worried that you're driving yourself to exhaustion. I'm hardly close to being winded, much less exhausted. Success in business often comes down to a timing and seizing opportunity, doesn't it? And I certainly need to find another opportunity soon. Ambrose pauses in the center of the street, and the crowd parts around us, as if we're standing on a small boulder in the middle of a rushing stream. I promise that I'll tell you the moment I cross past the potential partner or investor, and you've already crafted a remarkable business plan. I think you could easily afford to take things slow for a time, even if only for a few days. Yeah, girl, calm down. Though the look on your face tells me that you disagree. I don't see how I can rest on my laurels when I don't even have a supplier. I can't very well market a cure for vampirism if I have no way to actually offer it. It's not as though it's easy to procure gems of the appropriate purity. Oh, I am drinking so much water today. The cost alone is prohibitive, let alone the time and skill required to process each pill. I have to solve this problem first, otherwise I can't even take the next step. I can feel my grip tighten around Ambrose's arm, but he says nothing. Relaxing again, I take a step forward and he matches my pace. Someday, I'm certain that vampires who wish to become human will be able to do so with the same ease as one might treat a recurring headache. When that day comes, it will be a result of all your work and effort. Well, thank you for your advice and your concern. I'm more than comfortable at this pace, however, and once I secure a viable partner, I'll have plenty of time for leisure and relaxation. At least for a few hours, I expect. Speaking of which, have you not heard anything from Douglas yet? He seems worried, far more than I expected he would be over hearing about a missed appointment. Unfortunately, I can't afford such sympathies right now, given the, description of the game, I'm guessing Mr. Douglas is very, very dead. Or, well, you know, just disappeared. Not a word, but it hardly matters. I won't waste any more ink on unreliable cads like him. Ooh, harsh. But reasonable. That's concerning. I can understand if he didn't contact you yesterday evening, but to ignore you into the afternoon... Perhaps he's taken ill. We aren't far from his offices, if you'd like to stop in. A waste of time, I expect. Thank you, though. Girl, I would go and stop by, make sure the dude is actually, like, alive and all that. Be kind of concerning if he isn't. I am grateful in spite of the circumstances. Ambrose could hardly bear any blame for a jeweler's negligence, though I'm sure he also feels responsibility since he's the one who vouched for Douglas as a trustworthy prospect. I'll consider it once I've taken care of other business. I'm sure it's a simple misunderstanding. A bell chimes above to mark the quarter hour. Ambrose waits patiently as the sound fades into the din of the town square, then gestures back toward the university. It seems I'm out of time, unfortunately. I've got another appointment soon, so I'll be heading back. Are you returning to campus as well? No, I think not. I'll see you tonight at dinner, Ambrose. Of course. It should be a crown of lamb, provided I'm not held up by the faculty. Goodbye for now. Oh, he's so sweet. Ambrose turns, and I let the shadow of his parasol slip away, leaving me in the sun. It's brighter than I expected. Nearly as bright as it was in my childhood. The afternoon crowds have filled the town square, with laborers and tradesfolk winding through the bakeries and market stands on their lunch break. Carriage wheels and newly shod horses leave a dull staccato in the air as they pass one another in the street. Shop bells ring one after another. A large fountain babbles conversationally to the people gathered around it, and in the distance a small crowd applauds. I consider that Douglas's office is on the far end of the square. The sound of a violin catches my ear. Is that what warranted the applause I heard? Sherlock? There's something both immediately familiar and uncanny. I've never heard this song before, and certainly never in this place, but the melody feels eerily nostalgic. I suppose a skilled performer can evoke all sorts of emotion in their audience. Let's see what sort of person this fiddler is. The quick triplets and rich vibrato echo through the plaza. Actually, seeing past the gathered crowd is becoming a hassle. A group of taller men in particular stand right in the middle. I have half a mind to drag them to the back of the audience. Oh, I hate assholes like that. There are people behind you, you dolts. I reach forward to pry the wall apart when the fiddler strikes a sharp chord and leaps up onto the fountain's edge. Interesting, a mysterious masked figure. They raise their violin up, and their fingers dance across its neck. The audience claps to keep time. A bubbling warmth rises in my chest, and I can't look away. They wear a mask, but they're clearly quite handsome. Their slicked back hair shines in the afternoon sun, and their hands cradle their instrument with a fierce delicacy. And the sound... I don't know where they were trained, but they're bursting with energy as if they can't help but draw their bow across the strings. It's enchanting. I've attended a fair number of performances in my life, from full chamber orchestras to unaccompanied singers in a roadside tavern. It's been years since I've heard a performance so desperate and impassioned as this. It's almost as if they're gasping for breath, and that violin is the only air they can breathe. Finally, the middle-aged man bearing my path steps aside, and I moved a bit closer to the front for a better look at this masked fiddler. Our eyes meet for a moment behind their mask. Their bow hangs for a half-beat too long. They hop back down to finish the song. Before I can find them again, a round of applause rings out. The people around me plead for an encore. The clasps of an instrument case click shut. Are they leaving already? I need to get their name at the very least. A musician with that level of passion and talent could do better than busking in the square. And I wouldn't mind hearing them play privately for me, either. Wait! There's no path forward. Eventually the crowd breaks and people start dispersing in a dozen directions. By the time I reach the fountain's edge, the masked fiddler is gone. I sigh to catch my breath. That's likely for the best. I almost let myself get carried off track. I guess the musicians are a hazard in many ways. I wonder what the business prospects are like for the agents and representatives of popular performers. Aren't you already taking on enough work as it is? Oh, hey, bro. I'm more capable than I was when I was a child, Nemo. More capable of running yourself ragged, maybe. I glower at him. And what have you come into town to fetch? Nemo lifts up a bundle of meat wrapped in butcher's paper. A crown, apparently. Come on, I'll walk you back unless you still got business here. No. I sigh and let my shoulders sink. Let's go then. I'm getting hungry. You know this is for dinner, right? Don't worry, I'm not gonna eat your husband's crown. I would certainly hope not. That sounds painful. Nemo holds his arm out, and I take it as we move through the din of afternoon traffic. In a short while, we'll be back at the apartment. I'll need to start drafting more inquiries and preparing samples. I'll consider what Ambrose said earlier. If I can secure a reliable supply of gems, then I can prove the treatment's effectiveness more easily. The evening will pass uneventfully, and by week's end, I'll forget all about Douglas's audacity and insult. But that calm, unremarkable future doesn't come to pass. As we wind through the square and emerge from the alley, I catch a glimpse of the building where Douglas keeps his office. Ah, shit! 5 police officers are gathered around the open doorway in a huddle, while other officers filter in and out of the narrow hallway. Stray phrases catch my ear. One officer says, "He's been here a few hours," and there says something like, "He's already going cold. Found him earlier today, possibly since." Damn! A carriage rumbles past and drowns out the rest of the phrase. A chill sweeps over me and my feet pull me toward the ominous chatter. No reassurance or comfort are waiting for me in that office, nor in overhearing the officers outside. And so I walk closer. A rush of foot traffic floods into the streets as passengers head for the train platform. In the chaos, it's easy to slip away and duck behind an oncoming carriage before Nemo can even notice I'm gone. The clock chimes at the top of the hour, a moment before I reach the doorway. Outside, the police are still chattering about how hard it will be to cordon off the area and turn away gawkers. Yeah, Douglas is dead! Like, big time. They don't seem too concerned with all the people passing in and out of the main building, though. It's almost embarrassing that I can slip in so casually without drawing a second glance. Douglas's office occupies the ground level of a fairly new, yet imposing building close to the center of Laurenburg. See if the neighbors have heard anything first, and then finish documenting the scene. Yes, sir! And you there, check the locks on all the windows for tampering. This one's looking a lot like the Fairfield case. Fairfield? Wait, so the guy Ambrosia's trying to visit is also dead? I hear an officer's voice coming from an open doorway to my left. He continues, but I can't follow his words anymore. My eyes fall to a prone, rigid forearm draped across a sofa near the back of the room. One of the officers steps aside, and the face of a corpse stares back at me with gaunt and glassy eyes. The officer's chatter confirms my fear. The man I was supposed to meet yesterday of evening is lying dead in his office with blood caked around his lips and staining his tie. Vampire? Someone there? Clear out! This is a crime scene! No gawkers! My legs move before I can think clearly. Douglas is dead? How? When? The nearest doorknob is already in my hand. Good, it's unlocked. My shin slams into a low table and I tumble backward into an armchair. The sunlight stings my eyes, as if I hadn't suffered insult enough, and then my vision adjusts. I've often felt the unnerving sensation of reliving memories in a dream. It's never happened to me in the waking world, though. A grandfather clock's chime echoes through the room. I glance outside and the sun is still high up above the rooftops. I clench the hem of my dress. I'm back in the same seat I occupied less than a day ago, waiting to finalize a business deal with the man now lying dead less than a dozen feet away. My mind swirls, my memories fray. Was Douglas already dead by the time I arrived last night? Did he die while I waited here, never realizing? On the way in, I saw 5 coppers. Inside, 3, maybe 4 others. My breath catches in my throat. Natural deaths, no matter how tragic, don't draw this level of scrutiny. Murder. I'd like to be overreaching and leaping to unreasonable conclusions. I could still recall the odd figure I chased through the alleyways last night. Did they see me? Did they know I was here? Was Douglas being killed as I sat in this chair? One of them mentioned Fairfield's earlier. Is that the same Mr. Fairfield that Ambrose tried to call on earlier today? Sheray's syllables leak out of the neighboring room. I can't hear anything complete. I pressed my ear to the wall, though. Who's there? I turned my face away from the wall and gripped the arms of my chair so firmly that my nails nearly ripped the upholstery. Well, hello? Wait, Elm? I swear he looks completely different from earlier. Oh, my apologies. I wasn't aware anyone else had an appointment today. He's looking good, though. This is crossing over into the absurd. Why is Elm here? Why has he changed his outfit completely since he was in class? Okay, I thought so. I hope you've not been waiting long. No, I only arrived moments ago. Good. I can pour you some tea if you like. Acting like you didn't totally brush me off earlier. No, thank you. If I may ask. Go right ahead. What exactly are you doing here? Oh my! Okay, I might be going for Elm, not gonna lie. Elm smirks. He's never smirked, at least not that I've seen. Wait, does he have a twin? Elm? I'm afraid you have me at a disadvantage. If I may. Sir? He reaches forward, and before I can stop him, he's lifting my fingers to his lips. Elm? Ah, you've met my brother. I'm sorry for the confusion. Okay, so he's not Elm. They're twins. Not gonna lie, I'm sorry, Elm. Your brother's kind of hotter. A brother? Elm never mentioned having a brother, let alone a twin? Why wouldn't he have brought that up? Despite the circumstances, I'm charmed to make your acquaintance. I'm Rowan, currently the head of my family's business and estate at this morning. At a glance, he looks just like Elm, but the air around him is completely different. Oh, he's gonna be like the charmer playboy type, isn't he? From the slight smirk tugging at his lips to the confidence in his posture, he holds himself with an incredible assertiveness and poise. I allow him to take my hand in greeting. I can barely keep track of what he says. Elm is his brother? Mr. Douglas was their father? That would explain Elm's behavior earlier. He must be grief-stricken. But meanwhile, his brother doesn't betray a trace of sadness. Hey, yo, buddy, I hope you didn't do it. Why didn't Elm mention his twin to me? And why is Rowan taking all of this in such an easy stride? Pleased to meet you, Rowan. My name is Lucy, and I'm sorry for your loss. It's unfortunate, yes, but I've already had time to grieve. Okay. More importantly, I've been selling my father's outstanding business, and I do hope you're still interested in pursuing our options together. Well, how convenient! I'm gonna ignore the murder part as long as I get what I need. At that, he closes his hands around mine and flashes a reckless grin. How brazen. You can see he takes after his father in that regard. I'm relieved that you came by. I saw one of your recent letters among my father's papers, and I was hoping to run into you eventually, that I might apologize in person, and hear your proposal. I'm relieved to hear it. About your father. Rowan shakes his head, sullen but not unsettled. My father put his work first at all times, even to the detriment of his health. He kept unreasonable hours and regularly worked himself to the point of exhaustion at his desk. So, in a way, I've been expecting this to happen almost every day for years. A colleague of ours also died under suspicious circumstances recently, so I'm sure the coppers are just taking every precaution. I think my father was always in the greatest danger from himself. My condolences. A writhing, coiling knot rises in my stomach. I'm still reeling from Douglas's death, the prickling unease left by my questions about Elman Rowan. I have a sense that Rowan is also the violinist. There's also a decent chance I'm gonna say that he's also the killer. Yeah, now. I'm curious, I'm intrigued. Is their family business even stable right now? Is Rowan trustworthy? I'll have to sort it out later. At present, I need to know exactly why the police are here in such force. I doubt that figure fleeing the scene last night was just a harmless bystander. We have everything in order. Shall we continue discussions of our potential partnership? Unfortunately, the day after tomorrow is the earliest I could give you the attention you and your ideas deserve. Ooh, okay. The day after tomorrow. That's acceptable. Thank you for your understanding. Even though I fully expected my father to work himself to an early grave, I'll need a bit more time to make arrangements for his burial. Completely understandable, dude. Ooh, interesting. I just noticed this tiny little detail here, how the chain on his cloak is resting on top of his arm. Typically, I would expect that to just be hanging underneath it, but it kind of shows, like, the movement that you go when you put your arm up. You'd probably catch on that. This little detail. I love small details. I'm a sucker for tiny details to just add a little bit more personality to the characters. Rowan smiles easily, but despite his confidence and aplomb, he can't hide the crooked knot in his tie or stray loose buttons on his cuff. I wonder if he's taken his father's death worse than he appears. Makes sense. Though I still don't see why the police would be so interested in the jeweler's natural death, no matter how untimely. You have my sympathies. What time should I meet you then? You're pretty forward, you know. I'm not fond of delays unless they're absolutely necessary. A woman of ambition and charm. Let's meet at my family's manor after breakfast. It's close to the university and will waste less time stepping aside for the coppers. Perfect! I look forward to formalizing our partnership then. As will I, Miss Lucy. Such a gentleman. Rowan bows deeply, raising his face to meet my eyes and flashing that reckless grin of his once more. He certainly inherited his father's sense for flattery. In the window just beyond the grandfather clock, I noticed Nemo searching for me among the afternoon crowds. I'm not feeling at ease with the police lingering so close by either. It's time I head back. Thank you again. It's a pleasure to meet you in spite of the circumstances. I'll take my leave. Of course. We'll speak again soon. I leave the small meeting room quietly, and hurry down the hall, slip behind the coppers, and grab Nemo by the arm to pull him into an alley. Hey! Lucy, what's going on? Where'd you disappear to? Douglas's office. And he couldn't have just told me where you were going? Something caught my attention. Did you notice the suspicious figure I chased through the alleys last night when you found me? Yeah, because that was me. Were you trying to catch a burglar to pass the time? That was you? Well, in any case, it wasn't a burglary. In fact, the whole affair might be more involved than I anticipated. Alright, I need to use the bathroom real quick, so give me a hot second. I'll be right back. I also went and got myself some water, too. Nemo can be overprotective at times, but he knows when to listen, and he's fairly good at it when the mood strikes him. And so he listens as I tell him everything I saw, the condition of Douglas's body, Rowan's sudden appearance, and the murmurs I heard from the police. They wouldn't be putting this much coppers on the scene if they thought Douglas's death was natural, would they? Probably not. I heard something else, too. I look up at Nemo as he returns a pensive glare. I know that look pretty well. He's warning me not to dive headfirst into something dangerous. What was it? Heard a detective mention that another jeweler by the name of Fairfield was found dead last week. I feel my breath catch. I know that this could be a coincidence. Maybe the coppers are leaping to conclusions and there's no connection. But if there is, if two prominent jewelers in Nuremberg died within a week of another, who could be responsible? And why? Do you remember how Fairfield died? No, that's the sort of thing they would have printed in the papers, though. You read the papers? At the most obnoxious times, in fact. Oh no, you read the papers. Yeah, and that's why I don't have to remember all of it. The paper won't forget. Alright, I'll have to ask the papers then. Men inside called for a chemist, by the way. Oh, so Douglas is poisoned. I'm not sure. He looked. Pallid skin, blood dribbling down his neck, staining his shirt, the emptiness in his eyes. I'm no expert on these things. It's possible. We talk about possibilities and contingencies all the way home. Not that Nemo knows how to navigate business with the requisite delicacy. We part at the university gates, and for the next several hours until nightfall I try, and fail, to find any trace of Elm. What an exhausting day. Feels as though I woke up a full week ago and I've been running without a rest since then. Of everything that happened, though, I find that there's one in particular that won't leave my mind. What could be on Cecil's mind as of late? Elm seems so distraught. I want to check in on him tomorrow. The relaxed demeanor, was he thinking? The handsome fiddler in the town square. That's confusing and concerning. The fiddler in the town square was so enchanting. In the midst of a tumultuous day, that brief moment when I listened to their performance was a desperately needed respite. I'm shocked that I've never seen someone so skilled around the city before. Have they only arrived in Nuremberg recently? I haven't heard of any new performing troupes or orchestral companies passing through. I suppose they could be a lone traveler, though. That mask they wear isn't common either. Wonder if... No, that's enough. I can't while away the night daydreaming about handsome musicians, for heaven's sake. If I'm fortunate, perhaps I'll hear their music again. For now, though, I should rest and recover from today's events. Thinking any further will only tie my brain into knots, and I've not the time to untangle that. And more than that, when these thoughts can't keep the ghastly image of Douglas's lifeless face from intruding into my memory. Well, she took that rather well. Like, she stumbled into her chair, but for somebody who just saw a dead body, like, she wasn't too spooked. Sleep will help. Yes, I'll sleep. I only hope that tomorrow is a calmer day. Nostalgia can be an insidious thing. It's all too easy to hold fondness for memories, and the pain of the moment dulls and you remember only the simple sweetness and thrill. On particularly bright summer mornings, I catch myself getting wistful as I think about the time I spent darting through empty classrooms on campus, hiding out in haylofts and scouring back alleys while I searched for answers. In spite of any excitement I felt 5 years ago when Cecil and I planned stakeouts to search for my parents' killer, my memory of that time is still stained with tears, so that's gonna probably be about the previous game. Whenever I feel nostalgia... Hang as I pass by a classroom, and recall the fun I had roaming free in Nuremberg. I remember how many nights I spent crying myself into restless sleep. I don't even remember my parents properly, and just learning of their deaths devastated me. Tears and clenched fists and bared fangs and reckless adventure all led me to an even more painful answer in the end. Grief never follows a convenient course. There are rarely simple villains whose dispatch will close all your open wounds. Elm and Rowan lost their father just hours ago. Father they both knew and spoke to every day. No, perhaps that's not right. I don't actually know anything about Elm's relationship to his family, do I? In all the time we've known one another, he never mentioned that he has a twin, or that his father was a prospective business partner of mine. I'm sure I mentioned the deal to him at least once while we were studying after class. Yeah, they're like two sides, I guess. Elm's kind of like the calmer, quiet one, and then you got Rowan, who's the mischievous flirt. Rowan's face keeps coming to mind as well. He was charming, inviting even. I hadn't seen his father's corpse moments before we met. Might have even had butterflies in my chest. That familiar mixture of confusion, excitement, and mystery on the edge of terror fills in the space between my thoughts again. Sitting at the front of a classroom, I can't keep the whirl of memory and curiosity from distracting me. If Rowan was so unfazed and moved on so quickly from his father's death, was their relationship really that bad? If so, then why is Elm so distraught? Even now, I can tell he's barely paying any attention to the professor. Though if he's close to his father, why has he never mentioned either his family or his sibling? Of course, the most salacious possibility could be true. I already entertained and dismissed the notion that Rowan had killed his father to take over the family business, that Elm was living in fear of what might happen to him in the aftermath. It was my first and immediate suspicion after leaving Douglas's office, but Nemo and I both agree that it was unlikely at least. I had the same thought too. If Rowan were the killer, he would have chosen a far more convenient time and method that would draw less suspicion onto himself. I'm not fully convinced that he is innocent, of course, but I'd like to believe him. Perhaps I'm just extending goodwill to him because of my concern for Elm. That will be all for today. We'll be discussing the next treatise on currency exchange later this week, and you may call upon me if you have any questions in the meantime. Dismissed. Elm, wait there. Oh. Dude's just like, oh, fuck. Yesterday, I met your twin, Rowan. A twin brother? Truly? Elm, why didn't you tell us? Does he attend school here too? I didn't... There's been a lot happening lately. Yes, I heard about your father. I'm just like, Elm, I'm sure you've had your reasons, but why did you keep all that a secret from us? I may be entering into business with your brother, and I want to know... I stopped suddenly, and the rails of my thoughts vanished beneath me. What am I expecting of him now? What is it that I really want to know? I don't know. Elm looks exhausted and anxious. It's a miserable, icy weight in the pit of my stomach. Why do I feel so incessant? It's nothing worth mentioning. Should get going. There's another class coming in soon, and... Elm, is that true? Wait a minute, Lucy, do you mean that scoundrel who stood you up is Elm's father? Dude, he's dead! Some sensitivity would be nice here. I'm sorry, I need to go. There's an appointment, and... Elm backs away as he stammers out his words, his eyes never meeting my own. I reach out to grab his shoulder, but he's even quicker than I expected. Buddy, we botched this whole thing. Poor Elm. Dude is grieving, and we're just like... not giving a shit. He leaves Cecil and I standing in the midst of the other students filtering through the classroom door like water over a... Where? That's a new word. Let's follow him. I'm worried about where he might wander. I think I'll leave him to you, Lucy. That's a good idea, Cecil. Cecil gives me a sheepish smile and ducks away. I forgot something earlier, so I'll stop by town to fetch it. Don't wait up for me. What did you forget? I can lend you my books if you need. I don't think Cecil is even listening by now. Is he anxious about excavating Elm's family secrets? Can we give this poor boy a break? Oh my god. He hurries away, waving an apology as he goes. Wait, Cecil! He doesn't wait, though. There's a soot on his knuckles. That closes off any room for doubt. He's absolutely hiding something. Knowing Cecil, he's liable to get in over his head before he realizes he should ask for help. Oh, God help this boy. Well, I'm not about to let him leave at that. Accepting that I can see Elm already making his way into the hall. At least sight of him now, I may not be able to find him again until the day after tomorrow. Go after Elm. Dude needs, like, oh my god, give the boy a hug. Be a little bit nicer to him, please. As much as I'd like to know what's got Cecil rushing off so suddenly, I know he'll tell me in time. Elm, though. Should be only a few paces down the hall. He isn't even walking quickly, but every step toward him feels like I'm walking through lapping waves. I'm anxious. I was too focused to notice it sooner, and now I've only got the span of a few yards to think about what I'll say. I need to know why he kept his twin's existence a secret, but what do I say to someone who lost their father just 2 nights past? Wait, where's he gone? I only hesitated for a moment. He's probably on his way back to his manor, right? Elm? Elm? No reply, though I expected as much. I'm not in shoes built for sprinting. I can manage 100 yards at least. I recall the directions Rowan gave me well enough. I should be able to follow the roads there and catch Elm along the way. Unless he's running at a breathless pace, I should at least be able to catch sight of him before he shuts himself away. And I can easily keep up this moderate pace for longer if I need to. But I don't. There's no reason to keep running. I move past a pair of sullen, downcast faces beneath a blooming lilac arbor, and I stop. I'm not out of breath, but I feel my pulse quicken. I sit down beside the stoic marble bust of one of the university's founders on a short pedestal, and I look up through the vines. Perhaps Ambrose was right. There are things I might miss if I rush too quickly straight ahead. The flowers here are lovely. Well, hello. Is he just, like, hiding up in the trees then? Oh my god. They only bloom for a day or two. They'll be gone once the storm passes through. Beside me, Elm's face is as graven and dark as the statues keeping watch of the garden. His voice doesn't carry a tremor. It's softer than usual. Almost weary. A shame, then. Sure, Ambrose wouldn't mind if we cut a few to keep before the wind carries them off. Whether the headmaster minds or not, I don't think your brother would let you steal the gardener's shears again. The next thought doesn't form completely in my mind. Elm and I both linger uncomfortably for a moment. Elm tenses briefly as I reach up. For now, I'll have to do without asking about Rowan. I pinch the stem of a lilac high on the arbor, twist it swiftly, and snap it off the vine. I offer it to Elm, rightly proud of myself. I don't need to steal anyone's shears, fortunately. It seems you don't, Lucy. Aw, he's got such a cute smile. And he's smiling. At least a little, which is significant for someone like him. And it's gone. So, Elm takes a slow breath. You heard that my father died the night before last? Yes, I'm sorry. No, it's not. I didn't expect it. I thought it wouldn't happen for decades more. My father wasn't the most present man. He worked from before sunup to long after sundown, week upon week. He especially threw himself into work over the past several years. I always thought he would work away his grief in time. I wanted to talk to him. It was today that we were supposed to meet. You don't have to say more than you'd like. If you do want to talk about your father, though, I've got a better set of ears than the founders. I tilt my head toward the marble bust beside us, and Elm chuckles lightly. See, this is better. We're not just accosting the poor man. They are attentive, at least. With some effort, Elm rises to his feet and accepts the lilac I plucked as he does. The sight of him bringing the petals up to his nose, smiling at the scent, and then placing the flower in his breast pocket is unexpectedly beautiful. I'm sorry I've been avoiding you and Cecil lately. Would you like to walk with me for a while? What? Oh, yes, by all means. Thank you. For the flower and coming to find me. Who hope you didn't expect I'd let you languish here on your own. Cecil would have come with me too, but he had something urgent to attend. Something which I'm going to ask him about tonight. Why did he rush off like that? And these vines are so old and well-tended. I doubt even a hurricane could stop them from blooming year after year. If only it were that easy for us. I can hear bitterness pulling down Elm's quiet laughter. We walk on through the garden, and soon through the university gates into town. I wonder how long this demo is. I take Elm's arm once we're in the midst of the afternoon crowds. He's always a little stiff in these moments. I think he's never been accustomed to human touch. He's told me that he doesn't dislike it in theory, but when anyone else touches his arm or shoulder, it makes him keenly aware of his own body in a way he's rarely pleased with. I get that. I suppose I can understand. I've heard some people experience this when they turn to vampires and suddenly have a heightened awareness of themselves, including any misgivings or anxieties they might have. In Elm's case, though, I always wondered if it wasn't just that he spent so much time in his own mind that he rarely gives his body a second thought. Time slips by us slowly, as if we're swimming against its flow, walking slowly as the sun drops through the rooftops of Laurenburg. Once 3 summers passed, Cecil and I walked with Elm through these streets. I forgot if we even had a goal or if we were just enjoying a carefree afternoon, browsing the storefronts and window displays. We stopped by a clockmaker, one of those old shops with yellowed windows and a faded sign above the door. The brass handle as the entrance is smooth and warm from the weight of thousands of hands. Elm stood there, transfixed and singularly focused on an open pendulum clock with its shifting gears. A small city moved around its base with porcelain carriages and ladies beneath lace parasols shifting at each quarter. "Look at it, you two," he barely spoke above whisper. "Isn't it wondrous to see every part laid out and fitted together so finely?" Cecil eagerly agreed, and the two spent a fair while excitedly chattering about the marvels of precision engineering, though Elm didn't seem as taken with the fine embellishments. Rather than the decoration on each piece, Elm stared at the whole mechanism as if he was gazing at the night and mapping every star. It's laid out and played to see, every piece and part in harmony. You can almost hear his words from all those years past as clear as the chime of the clock. He's certainly a strange fellow, but a reliable friend and a steady presence. Perhaps that's why seeing him so shocked has left me unnerved as well. Up ahead of us, a young couple walks away from an alleyway stall with absolute glee. A middle-aged man with a brilliant sapphire necklace and matching cufflinks is waving goodbye to his last customers and beckons Elm over the same motion. His table is full of rings and pendants, all set with enormous gems, which is why I'm confident he's a thief or a counterfeiter. "Ha ha ha ha! Yes, welcome! You two seem to be enjoying yourselves, so why not get something for your beau there?" My jaw nearly drops, but mostly because of the quality of the gems in front of me. It's a topaz nearly the size of my thumb, without a single impurity. I would, but I forgot my wallet. A blatant lie? Why did you think I was the beau? Oh, come now. You might think there's a prince's treasure, but I assure you they're more reasonable than you expect. You see, sir and madam, these are all reconstructed rubies. We've concocted them in test tubes and grown them in tremendous size for all less than a miner's monthly wage. Thank you, but we'll be on our way. Reconstructed rubies? Ah, caught your eye? Yes, you can see these are a marvel of modern scientific ingenuity. I'm familiar. I've ordered a book on the process if you'd like to see it, back at the campus library. They are lovely. Oh no, it looks like he's sticking with a pair of ruby hairpins that hasn't caught my meaning. It hasn't caught my meaning. Ah, damn it, Elm! It's fallen for the scam. Don't do it. Yes, indeed, a perfect pair of identical hairpins. See how finely the silver filigree fits embraces the precise cut of the ruby, like stars blossoming on a vine. The perfect gift for a lady with beautiful hair. Truly a lovely set, wouldn't you say? They'd be lovelier if one of them wasn't fake. I thought I'd muttered under my breath too quietly for anyone but Elm to hear. But judging by the color now draining from his face, it must have been louder than I intended. The vendor squints at me and leans far over the table, thrusting the hairpin towards me. Young miss, why not try them on? No, thank you. Wait. The gems may well be synthetic, but the settings here are finely crafted. That's a high grade of silver, too. The ornamentation on one hairpin is worth more than he's charging for the pair. Lucy? Ha ha ha! I say yes! You're taken by their beauty as well, aren't you? Go ahead, try them on. I guarantee you I've got the finest synthesized gems in all the city. No, you haven't. What was that now? Just as I thought, his cheery demeanor only held up when he thought we might still be gullible. He traded out his honeyed flattery for a sailor's rasp. I think that's where my voice is heading. Unfortunately for him, I've spent weeks reading the latest chemical research into synthesizing gems. Unfortunate for both of us, really. He's either a thief or a counterfeiter. In either way, he's drastically overestimating just how large synthetic gems can grow with the latest techniques. If I'm not mistaken, I think some of these pieces are worth far more than you're asking. You should get them appraised, otherwise I'm afraid you might be losing a fortune. Thank you for the offer, but we'll be on our way. Elm has shaken out the distraction on his face and he shoots a sharp glare at the vendor before he walks away. Now you listen here! Ow! He's grabbing my wrist with a vice grip! I heard you slander my goods. Apologize! Did I apologize for being too generous? Clearly you don't know what you've got your hands on. Let go of her. Elm immediately wrests the man's arm away and stands between the two of us. It's amusing to see the older man shrivel under Elm's gaze. I didn't realize he could be so intense, if I'm being honest. Ooh, Elm, thank you. Oh, my poor throat. They stare one another down for a moment before the vendor, or thief more likely, lowers his hands and steps back. Lucy, let's go. Yes, and quickly. Elm turns down the street, and I glance back at the likely thief as we go. Oh no! Elm turns down the street, and I glance back at the likely thief as we go. I only notice the glint of a blade when he's already rushing up to Elm. Elm hasn't noticed the vendor charging, and I expect the older man thinks he'll catch us out easily. Oh, please! Vampire powers don't fail me now! I think Elm suffered enough recently, and this shoddy cat could stand to suffer a bit more. I don't have my full vampiric strength back just yet. I should be more than quick enough to twist the knife from his hands. Get him, girl! Ah! Let go of me! I'm more than strong enough to throw him through that collection of stolen baubles he's trying to peddle. Ah! I'll thank you not to trouble us further. Lucy, you... Wretch! Slanderer! I'll have the coppers on you! Not likely, considering how shady your own business is. He's still scrambling up to his feet and shouting, but I've already thrown his knife up onto a nearby rooftop, so I doubt he'll be much threat to us. Pompous vampires, don't look down on me! Bitch, you tried to stab us. You got what you deserved. In a bitter fit, he throws a large emerald brooch at me and it hits my neck with a dull thud. I flinch, expecting a flash of light and a searing pain, but nothing happens. The brooch falls to the ground. The stone cracks on impact. Well, would you like to ruin any of your other merchandise while you're at it? Leave me be, wretched cretins! Scrambling like a squirrel caught on slick ice. Oh, that's quite the imagery. The man scoops his wares into a satchel and rushes away into a nearby building. He's certainly up to no good, and I'd be remiss to let him go after hurling such a sharp brooch at me. That was heavy, you know. Come on, Elm, we can't let him get away. Wait. Just as I take off after the suspicious vendor, Elm grabs my hand to stop me. For a moment, I can't speak as we both realize how tightly our hands are clasped together. Ooh! Hi, Elm. We separate. Oh, you don't want to hold hands even longer? We separate shortly after, though it's hard to meet his eyes until we begin walking back to campus. Elm's footsteps are steady as a pendulum, but his face isn't nearly as easy to read as a clock. Does he also feel a faint warmth clinging to his fingers? Ooh, girl's getting a crush. Gotta love those spammers in chat. The sun is starting to singe my eyes, so I duck into the shade of a tree. Elm is staring at me, I realize. He's been staring for some time. His gaze is almost as bright as the sun. What is it? Are you a vampire? Does he not know? Yes? I'm almost unsure how to answer. Am I a vampire right now? I know some of my strength is returning, and I can tell that my senses are sharper, especially with the afternoon sun feeling like a blinding flash out in the open. Is that all it takes for me to return to being a vampire, though? 5 years of steady doses of pure emerald pills, and then after missing just one, I already start to show signs of vampirism again. If that's truly the case, then I'll need to adjust my estimates for treatment plans. Maybe more of a chronic condition that needs steady maintenance rather than a condition you can easily reverse or undo. And you have been all this time? Seriously, he doesn't know? He sounds eager, almost excited. I haven't seen him so wrapped in attention since he helped a professor explain the origins of modern economic models. I sigh to myself. It would be better to explain the whole of it to him. I see. You mentioned your work and business plans before, but I didn't know you were testing the cure on yourself. It was my brother's idea, though now that I know just how quickly the effects can fade, I might thank him for being so insistent. Ah, was this testing? This? When you didn't take your last pill. Is that part of your test for the treatment? Nah, that's just because I wanted to. That is pretty crazy, right? Was it? What were my thoughts the night before last, when I stared at my pill bottle before setting it back down, unopened? I just wanted to see how it felt again. I don't know. I don't know, frankly. But I just want to see how it felt again, but for the sake of the story, I'll say I don't know. I don't know. I'm still not sure, honestly. It was mostly on a whim that I decided to skip a dose, though I never thought the changes would be so quick. Is that so? I didn't even realize a cure would be so easily reversible. Yes, I suppose it makes sense. With other formulations that change your body or alter its systems, you often need to keep treatment up through most of your life. Is that truly what I want to do? Should I take my next pill? Or should I stop altogether? I see. He's staring at me so intently. Just realize his face is getting so close. Hey, yo, romance already? Hello? That's fascinating. Oh, he's so cute. Not gonna lie, I kind of like the nerdy types. Just his rampant excitement. I love it. For someone so quiet and solemn, he's surprisingly bold. He almost seemed entranced. Is he so fascinated by vampires? Or just by me? Huh. There goes hearing in one of my ears. I'm glad those synthetic gems didn't have a reaction to you, at least. That brooch would have left a terrible burn if they had. Yes, that was fortunate to say the least. The street vendor couldn't possibly have had actual synthetic gems, could he? He's likely guilty of more than just a momentary outburst in any case. Those were lovely hairpins, though. Suspiciously lovely. Those gems were clearly fake, and he admitted as much, but the settings were genuine. What was his game? I haven't heard of any schemes of that sort. Perhaps Ambrose or Nebo might have heard something about this. We're finally back in the campus gardens, thankfully. The cool breeze and gentle shade are a relief. Elm's still quiet. He's been staring into the distance for some time now. Well, shall we return inside then? My family. Huh? I haven't had the best relationship with the rest of my family for a few years now. It's nothing intriguing or scandalous. My father devoted himself to his work above all else, as I said. And since my mother died, he's barely shared a living space with me, let alone a meal. Oh my god, why am I hiccuping? And my brother... Elm's eyes dart away, as if he can't help but glance through the forest on the horizon. He's a fine person. His voice is clearly strained. There's more to this, of course, but I don't want to press him further right now. I may have been too aggressive in questioning him this morning. Too focused on the shock of learning of Douglas's death and Elm's relation to him. Too oblivious to the pain it was causing Elm. I'm sorry for not telling you about them. It's well within your right. You don't have to say anything more if you'd rather not. He nods slightly. For a time, we simply stand beneath the arbor of lilac blossoms. Tomorrow, I'll meet Rowan and discuss a potential business partnership. I should likely ask around about the strange vendor, too, in case there's something stirring in the city's jewelry market. For now, however, I can't seem to focus on anything but the odd distance in Elm's face, as though he's gone away and left himself here while he visits a memory. A bell chimes and signals the top of the hour, bringing us both free from the garden's calm. I gotta prepare for my meeting with Rowan, still, and I'm curious to hear if there's been any word on why the Coppers are so interested in Douglas's death. I've got another class, Lucy. His hand slides over mine as he gently pulls his arm away from me. Thank you for finding me here today. Of course. Oh, he's so sweet and soft. I love him. I must look like an utter fool, being flustered so easily. Elm's voice is so soothing, I almost forgot myself for a moment. I've got preparations of my own, so we'll speak again tomorrow. Take care, Elm. He nods. I'm not sure he heard me completely. Night falls quickly, and then seems to stretch on for ages, through Ambrosia's dinner of Ocalvine, and beyond my hurried scrawling on ledger paper in the low lamplight. I fall into bed just before midnight with very little to show for the hours I spent poring over my correspondence with Douglas. My mind keeps wandering as I read his letters again, as much to Elm and his grief as to the strange suddenness of Douglas's death. And if that weren't enough to contend with, the odd wares from the vendor this afternoon still bother me a good deal. Focus. Need to clear my thoughts or I won't be prepared for negotiations with Rowan tomorrow. Oh shit! Keegan's back! Oh my god. I'm at the gym. Does anybody have words of encouragement? It's about drive. It's about power. We stay hungry. We devour. Keep up the work. Keep up the power. Take what's ours. I don't know. Something along those lines. How's that? Does that work? I can only hope that sleep finds me soon. And that is the end of the demo. Thank you for playing the demo for Crimson Waves on the Emerald Sea Amaranthine Moon. If you want to help improve the final game, fill out our demo survey. It's anonymous and helps us a lot. You can also support our development by signing up for our newsletter or wish listing this game on Steam. Please do.
Self-voicing enabled. Either way, thanks for checking out our demo. Self-voicing disabled.
I didn't know that was a thing. Okay. Thank you, Lily. A speech worthy of Captain America. Perhaps the president from the movie Independence Day. Right? I know. I'm like so inspirational. But alrighty, everybody. That is it for the demo of Crimson Waves on the Emerald Sea. I just said that. Overall, I can't wait for the full release. Of course, all of these visual novels are just like absolutely fantastic. It's amazing. The imagery was really, really strong in this game. Like, I love just the metaphors and the similes that they've been using. Very creative. It's definitely got that Victorian era feel to it. I got it. God, Rowan and Elm are just like the power romance family at this point. I think I need to know more about Rowan before I decide if he's a character I'm interested in. Elm has definitely grabbed my attention, and Cecil, you're a little bit of a suspicious bastard. You're a little too hyper fun for my taste. Definitely strikes me as like a little bit more of the golden retriever type. Yeah, I'm curious to see who the killer is going to be. My bets are on the masked man. Either that or the masked man is someone we already know. And frankly, it could very well be Ambrose. Like, he could have just taken the opportunity to take us out, to Fairfield's shop, to give himself an alibi. Like, oh, I didn't know he was dead. And if Ambrose was in the other game, the original Crimson Waves on the Emerald Sea, it would be like a nice sort of break in expectations by having an old character be the villain of a new game. I always love it when shows like that happens. It's like, wait, I thought you were good, and it's like, no, he's an evil asshole. But anyways, definitely go check the game out on Steam. It is now 1 o'clock, so we're gonna go ahead and take a 30-minute break instead of a 10-minute, so I can get myself some lunch. Y'all go ahead and do the same as well. And when we come back, we will move on to Ukami Okami, which the demo for that game actually released just a couple days ago. But yeah, go ahead, get some food, get some water, and we will be back in a little bit.